Arithmetic operators are the symbols that hold meaning to maths. So if you've watched the assignment operators video, you'll see that I've used a lot of these already, so they won't come as a shock to you. However, there are still things in this video you need to know beyond the basic maths. So to go through some of it again, I'm just going to do some different print statements. And I'm going to use these values up here to show you some different things. So I could do num1 plus num2, and because these are stored as integers, it's resulting in an integer output. 40 plus 10 equals 50. I can obviously do minus. So 10 minus 40 is minus 30. I can do times, which is the star. So 10 times 40 is 400. And I could obviously do divide. And 10 divided by 40 is 0.25. So again, that's gone from an integer to becoming a float because I've used divide. Now there are other things you can do. So let's go for something a bit simpler. So we know 10 divided by 3, we know is 3.333. If I do a second forward slash and I run it, the answer is 3 because this is known as floor division. So that basically means divide, but lose the remainder. It's a way of making sure the answer is an integer. So I've lost that 0.33333. Right, so it's floor division. It doesn't mean round. That's different. So it doesn't round correctly to the nearest number. It loses the remainder. So even if this was 3.9 as an answer, it would have still gone to 3 and not 4. So it's floor division. There's a thing called modulus, which is a percentage sign, which this is going to sound balmy, but it becomes quite useful. So 10 mod 3 is 1. This calculates the remainder. So if I start with a number 10, which is num1, and then I use mod and I do it on num2, it keeps taking away 3 from 10 until it can't do it anymore, and it will leave the remainder. So obviously 10 take away 3 is 7, 7 take away 3 is 4, 4 take away 3 is 1, and I can't take 3 away from 1, so I'm outputting 1. That's modulus. We're going to use that in later videos because it's surprisingly useful. There's a couple of others. So there's exponentiation, which is double times. So this is when you want the exponent. So you could do 10 times 10 times 10 effectively, because 10 to then 3, 10 to the power of 3 is 10 times 10 is 100 times 10 is 1000. So that can be useful. And the very last thing I want to show you is coming back to why data types are so important. So if I had these as strings, most of the arithmetic operators would error. So you obviously can't do 10 as a word to the power of 3 as a word, because that makes no sense. So look, it says unsupported operand type. However, there are some that still hold some meaning, but it doesn't mean it's the same. So I've shown you this before, but plus, when you've got two strings, we'll join them together. It's known as concatenation. But obviously this results in something that potentially wasn't intended. The other one that people have got really confused about in the past is times. If you've got one thing that is an integer and one that is a string, this actually does something. When they're both strings, I'm going to get an error. But if I make the second one an integer, so then I've got the word 10 times by 3, you can probably guess where this is going, but it does 10, 10, 10. So it will do it 3 times. So if I make this number long and I run it, it's just outputting 10 that many times. A lot. Okay, so these are arithmetic operators. There are a couple of them that still have a meaning if you've got different data types that's worth knowing about.